Welcome, brave soul. I am the forgotten storyteller. Before we begin, tap that like button if you dare, and drop a comment below telling me where in the world you're listening from. And if you make it to the end of this video, I hope to see you in the next story. I hope you're ready, because I am. Let's begin. Our story tonight begins at Elder Pine, a retirement home tucked into the woods at the edge of town. A place where the hallways always smell faintly of peppermint oil and tea, and wind chimes tinkle even when there's no breeze. The building is old, not grand but gentle. A bit too many turns, a bit too many doors, and one hallway longer than it should be and darker. Always just a few degrees colder no matter the season. That's the one past room 112. They don't put new residents down there anymore. Not after what happened to Mr. Tully or Mrs. Chin, or young May, who only visited but never came back. The nurses won't speak of it. But if you sit long enough with someone like Mrs. Greta, who's been here since her hair was chestnut, not white, she'll tell you everything. Very softly and slowly, like reciting a dream. She'll say that hallway's not in the original blueprints. They added it later, after the fire. A fire no one remembers, or maybe no one wants to. She'll rock in her chair by the window, a shawl across her knees, and point toward the corner of the east wing, where the carpet changes color, and the lights hum a little too loud. She'll whisper, "It's colder there because it doesn't belong here. That's where the fold is, where time forgets to behave." Claire, the new night attendant, laughed at first. She was fresh from training, full of procedures and charts and bright smiles. She didn't believe in spirit corridors, or whispers in vents, or the soft, shifting footsteps that came when no one was on the schedule. Until her second week, when she noticed the doors down the hall had no names, just numbers, no family photos, no welcome wreaths, and room 117, its file was missing. There wasn't supposed to be a room 117. She counted twice, then again. 5 rooms down the hall. None listed, all closed and all cold. Claire stood in the middle of that hallway for the first time just after 3 a.m., the hour when time feels heavy, and silence is thick enough to hold in your hands. The carpet under her feet felt soft, but wrong, like damp velvet. The overhead lights buzzed faintly, and the air smelled old. Not dusty, not moldy, but used, as if too many people had breathed it, and none had opened a window since. She checked the rooms. 112, 113, 114. Then nothing. Just 5 more doors, unmarked. Even the room numbers had been removed, leaving faint outlines where brass plates once hung. The 5th door at the end was slightly ajar, just enough to see inside. There was a bed. It was made, still tucked perfectly. An empty chair facing the window, and something else. A black and white photo in a frame, turned face down. She stepped closer and reached for it. The moment her fingers brushed the wood, the overhead light blinked once, then again, then stayed on. She turned the photo over slowly. A man, elderly with kind eyes, wearing a cardigan, sitting in that same chair. His name was handwritten at the bottom. Tully. Bick. Her chest tightened. She knew that name. He was the one who vanished last year. He'd been sitting in the garden one moment, and simply didn't come in for lunch. No one saw him leave. The security tapes were blank. They searched for days. Found nothing. Eventually his room was cleared. His name removed. But this room still had him. Claire backed away, photo in hand, the hallway pressing in like a too-tight sweater. She returned to the nurse's station, pulled up the digital records. Room 117, unassigned. Not in system. She printed the page anyway, slipped the photo beneath it, tucked both into her bag. That evening, she told Mrs. Greta what she'd seen. The old woman nodded slowly, rocking just once, as if confirming something already known. "They don't leave," she said, her voice like wind through pine needles. "They just turn a corner, down the hall." Claire asked what that meant. Greta looked toward the window, then toward the hallway. That corridor wasn't supposed to be there. They built it after the East Wing fire, but when they reopened, people said it went too far, too deep. Claire leaned in. Greta's next words were nearly a breath. Buildings have places they forget, corners where time pools, like water in a cracked bowl. Claire didn't sleep well that night. She kept thinking about the chill in that hallway, how it didn't feel like air conditioning. It felt like standing beside something, just waiting. The next night, a resident named Irene went missing. She was quiet, always sitting near the piano with her jigsaw puzzles. Not frail, not confused. She was last seen at dinner, then never again. No one had seen her leave. Her walker was still beside the bed. Her nameplate was taken down the next morning. No announcement, just silence. Claire walked the hall, paused before that last door. This time it was open wider. Inside, the chair was turned slightly, as if someone had just stood up. The photo of Mr. Tully was gone, but a new one sat in its place. It was of Irene, hands folded in her lap, a puzzle on the tray table. Same angle, same chair. Claire turned, her hands trembling. She would tell someone. She had to. But when she looked up, the hallway behind her wasn't the same. It stretched farther, much farther, as if the corridor was unfolding, stretching like a yawn. Room after room, door after door, all unnumbered, and the air was colder. She walked, each step soundless on the carpet. The overhead lights dimmer now, each one flickering, then darkening behind her, as if something was closing in. Claire's steps slowed. Each footfall felt lighter, like walking through fog. The floor didn't creak anymore. It didn't even feel solid. The lights above buzzed, that faint, anxious flicker, like a failing fluorescent bulb, until one by one, they blinked out. Behind her, she was halfway down the corridor now. She turned to go back, but the entrance was gone. Only more hallway, more doors, and that scent again. Not unpleasant, but too familiar, like faded paper, and warm blankets, and time. She passed another room. The door was open just enough. Inside, she glimpsed a coat folded on a chair, a brooch, an open book, and the nameplate tucked inside the frame. The name was Greta. Claire stepped back. Greta hadn't disappeared, had she? She'd been speaking to her just yesterday. Was it longer? The hallway messes with time. Mrs. Greta had said so. Claire moved faster now, passing each room. Each one opened just slightly, as though waiting for her. The carpet muffled her steps, but she could feel the cold, rising from the floor, like breath in winter. Then she reached the final door. Room 121. The number was back. Not brash, just painted. It was rough and crooked, almost childlike. Claire hesitated. Then, with fingers trembling, she reached for the handle. It was warm. Inside, a small room. A bed. A dresser. A candle, and it was lit. A woman sat in the chair with her back turned. Claire whispered, "Hello?" The woman turned. Claire's heart stooped. It was herself. Not older, not younger. Just still. The other Claire looked at her with soft, empty eyes. She opened her mouth to speak, but only silence came out. No sound. Just the feeling of sound. Low and deep. Like infrasound, the kind you don't hear, but feel in your bones. The kind linked to shadow sightings, to dread and to panic. Claire stumbled back. The floor tilted. Behind her, the hallway was gone. Only darkness. A cold, velvety nothing. She wasn't standing anymore. She was floating, sinking? No, she was sitting in a chair, facing the window. And outside was snow. And beyond that, the long, quiet hallway. At Elder Pine, a new night nurse called Coda started last week. She was young and kind, and very attentive. She walks the halls with soft shoes, and a clipboard tucked to her chest. She's been told to avoid the corridor past room 112, but she doesn't understand why. She's asked. She's looked. And one night, she noticed a door at the far end, flickering in the corner of her eye. The number read, 121. She peeked inside. Just a chair, facing the window, and a photograph. She turned the photo over. It was someone who looked a lot like her supervisor, Claire. Just a name, Claire. No date. The new nurse frowned, tucked the photo back, and walked back to the nurse's station. Behind her, the lights flickered once, then again, then held. The corridor remained cold and still, just waiting. Coda never told anyone about the picture she seen in room 121, and she never seen her supervisor Claire again after that day she seen the picture. Let us know in the comments if you would told anyone about the picture of Claire.
Ready for spine-chilling tales that will haunt your thoughts. Subscribe to Forgotten Storyteller for eerie narrations, unsettling mysteries, and haunting stories you won't forget. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a story, because some stories refuse to stay buried. Join us, if you dare.